We'll call the meeting to order for the Wicomico County Council Legislative Session 2022-14, July 5th, 2022. Those that would like to stand and join us in the Lord's Prayer and Pledge of Allegiance, please do.
Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I'd like to recognize Ann Stathowski, a member of the Wicomico County School Board, and thank you for being here. And Dr. Michael Stauffer, our new superintendent of Wicomico County Public Schools. So good to have you here. Congratulations again. Entertain a motion from council to approve the consent agenda. Second.
Second.
Any corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. The consent agenda is approved. This time we have proclamations. We have a few. The first one is a series of them to recognize the hashtag KindSBY Adopt a School sponsorship. Our acting county executive, John Pasota, is here to present them to probably half the people sitting here tonight. So we really thank everyone for participating in this program.
Yes, absolutely. I echo the sentiments from the council president. As I call these out, if representatives would, I guess we'll stand. How about that? We'll stand. And I'll give these to you. Representatives from Coastal Comfort.
John, have them come up with you, then they can get a picture taken
Okay.
and you do the whole thing.
Sure.
We have time.
All right. Anyone from Coastal Comfort? It's Cindy Tardif. Is Cindy Tardif here? Nope. Come on up, Cindy. Julie English, for City of Salisbury. Rachel Manning, City of Salisbury. Grace Murdoch. We've got to have Grace. And Pastor Hutchison advised that he was not going to be able to be here this evening, but he was here in spirit. Carly Taylor. Deshaun Dowdy, Bank of America. Deshaun Dowdy. Susan Wharton. Hi, Susan. Peninsula Wellness. Lavion Bratton. Ward Museum, Kristen Sullivan. East Wicomico Little League, Stephanie Preston. Delta Sigma Theta, Princess Anne Chapter.
Sonia waited.
Sonia, thank you. Purdue Innovation Center.
That's me too.
Oh, all right. Wyatt's Warrior Foundation. Erica Hart. Levon Adkins from ERA Martin and Associates, and Amy Eskridge. Jennifer Miller, City of Salisbury. Donna Nefferdorf. Girl Scout Troop 86. All right. Hey, come on back this way. Jennifer Derrickson, Heart and Soul Step. Restoration Church. Riverside Pharmacy. United Way of the Eastern Shore. Del Mar Elementary.
Oh, here comes Deshaun. John.
Come on down.
Bank of America.
English Learners School. Wicomico Middle School. These are the representatives from that side. Okay. Is there anyone that I've missed? Let's see. I think I've covered. United Way of the Eastern Shore? Good, okay. Someone that I've missed? Okay. And I've got them in here, so let's, I will pass some of these out because I can't possibly match these up right now. So let's, I will read one out for the certificate of recognition awarded to Carly Taylor for the adoption of the Wicomico Middle School Adoptive School Morale Boosting Program 2021 to 2022. We applaud your generous outpouring of kindness and caring for our school staffs. The blessings you have shared surely helped boost morale for each Wicomico County School employee. It is in support of such as yours that binds our community together. You can be proud of helping #KindSBY, our City of Salisbury Kindness Commission, create, inspire, and recognize kindness in our county. Congratulations and keep up the great commitment to making our community better. And this is going to reflect very similar to every one of you for all that you do. Grace, would you like to say a few words, please?
I would, thank you.
Thank you. Rescue me.
Thank you, John, and thanks to all the supporters, the adopters who came this evening. I know it's a very busy season. KindSBY has many projects that we do. Some of them are behind the scenes, and you may not know it unless you see on our website, KindSBY, and .org. I'd like for you to go there. You will see many pictures of the blessings that were done for the schools, and I can tell you the school staffs were delighted to be acknowledged and supported and recognized. We had a very challenging year this year, and Martin Hutchison was the first to recognize it, that the staffs were having some morale problems, and KindSBY got together. We created this program to help boost morale, and it did a tremendous amount to help at our schools. We had many wonderful notes from people and thank yous, and I do want to say that some of the adopters did not have a business behind them. They did it out of their own pockets. And while the blessings were very different at very many of the schools, it was fine, but they felt the personal notes that were written by the adopters that we put in all their mailboxes did a great amount to help them continue their job for their students. It made a tremendous difference. I'm very proud of the adopters, and I even have people who are asking about it for next year. So stay tuned. Thank you. And John, thank you so much for the honor, and County Council, thank you.
John, I would say if anybody would like to get a picture of a particular recipient, come up here and so you can get a good picture, and we'll bring them up individually if somebody wants an individual shot, because usually you do.
We can squeeze in
All right, we'll do a
and
group.
if I overlook someone, please, come on down.
That's a lot of squeezing.
Okay. Let me help you, John.
All right, yeah, pass some of these out.
Carly's couldn't make it. And Julie English. Yes, Julie, thank you so much.
Rachel Manning.
Yeah. Yes, you'll give that to Rachel.
That's, we know her?
Yes, Grace
All right.
Murdoch and Martin Hutchison did choices.
Cindy Tardoff, good night.
Cindy Tardiff right here. Yeah, right behind you. There you go. No, they're not here, but I'll get it to them. Mhm. Oh,
got
that's
them?
ours.
How many do you get?
Carly's
Carly
not
too?
here. Yeah, yeah,
Bear with us, thank you.
yeah. And Deshaun, right behind me. Deshaun, there you go. Mhm. And Susan. Susan did 2 schools, both Fruitland schools. And Peninsula, not here. Ford Museum, I'll get that to them. This is Sonia's, her first one. And Wyatt's Warriors, I'll get to them.
See how big the picture could have been?
Yeah. Eric, not here. Jennifer Miller. Jennifer Miller. Yeah. And Donna Nefferdorf. Donna, thank you. Girl Scout troop, so proud of this troop. Thank you, ladies. Wonderful. Yes, I know her, not here. Okay. Yeah. Pharmacy. United Way. Thank you, ladies. Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. Appreciate
Thank you.
it, John.
I owe you another proclamation for helping me.
Thanks so much.
Let's get a picture if we can.
Yep, if you can squeeze together as close as possible.
Can I sit and stand?
Yeah, but I don't want to run over anybody.
Is this ours?
That was from Annette Kenny. That's not, that's just what they sent up there.
But this one's for me though, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have some proclamations for some student athletes, and some very good student athletes. As a matter of fact, they're state athletic champions. Councilman Larry Dodd will read these for us.
Miss Amanda? Who's Amanda? You can come up here, young lady. First, we have this distinguished young lady from the Wicomico County Council, Wicomico County. It is with great pleasure that the acting county executive and the members of the Wicomico County Council extend the certificate of recognition to Amanda Ballard for winning the 2A indoor track state championship in the 100-meter dash and the 100-meter hurdles, and for being a five-time state champion, five-time.
Wow.
We congratulate you on your athletic accomplishments done this 5th day of July, 2022, signed by the acting county executive and all 7 of the county council members. I also need, after Amanda, I'll need Jalen. And Renaya. Is that how you pronounce it, Renaya? Got that one right. So, it's with our great pleasure that the Acton County Executive and the members of the County Council extend the certificate of recognition to Amanda Ballard for winning the Maryland State Championship and the 100-meter relay. What's the 4-time the 100-meter?
Mr. Dodd,
Yes.
are you missing Alyssa?
There's one more person up there.
You know, I put that at the bottom. Thank you for that. And there's one that's not going to be here, Timothy. Thank you. So the 4-time 100-meter relay, can you explain what that is?
It's just a relay for people who run 100
It's
meters.
4 people.
Yeah.
All right. So that 4 of you got this.
Yeah.
All right. So we congratulate you on your athletic accomplishments again today. This is for Amanda. This is for Jalen. We got some special people here. Naya. And I didn't mean to miss you. I saw your dad out in the hallway.
If you all want to come up closer, come up closer. You're not bothering
You want
anything.
to
Come on
stand
up here.
front here?
Okay, move up closer if you want a picture.
Congratulations, ladies.
I should go play basketball.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. It's going to be mailed.
She's, if you'd known her, you would think she was gonna be a basketball star. She came from
Look at there, buddy.
family owned basketball. I never knew she ran track like that.
Whatever she is, she's fast.
Oh yeah, she's fast. She got a 4-year scholarship.
Really?
Full scholarship.
5-year state champion. I would think so. Somebody pick her up.
He's state champion.
That's my question.
Good evening, Ms. Hurley.
Good evening, Mr. President, council members, ladies and gentlemen. The first item on the agenda this evening is a public hearing on resolution number 73-2022. This is recommending the approval for the sale of a land preservation easement from Bailey Nursery Farm LLC. This property is located on the southerly side of Quantico Road and contains approximately 137.04 acres. The property owner has submitted an application to the Maryland Agricultural Preservation Foundation to protect the land from development by preserving it for agricultural purposes and preserving the woodlands on the property. And we have Mr. Ben Zito here, Agricultural Preservation and Development Review Planner, if there are any questions.
Thank you. At this time, we open the floor for public hearing on resolution number 73-2022. If anybody has any comments they'd like to make, come to the podium, please. State your name, your county of residence, and your concerns. Again, this is in reference to resolution number 73-2022. That concludes the public hearing on resolution number 73-2022. Entertain a motion from council to approve resolution 73-2022.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, resolution passes.
Next is a public hearing on resolution number 74-2022. This is recommending the approval for the sale of a land preservation easement from Brian Tovine. This property is located in Hebron on the westerly side of Rockawalken Road and contains approximately 75.13 acres. The property owner has also submitted an application to the Maryland Agricultural Preservation Foundation to protect the land from development by preserving it for agricultural purposes.
Thank you. This time, we open the floor for public hearing on resolution number 74-2022. If you have any comments you'd like to make, come to the podium, please. State your name, your county of residence, and your concern. All right. Seeing none, that concludes the public hearing on resolution number 74-2022. Entertain a motion from council to approve resolution number 74-2022. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, resolution passes.
Okay, next is a public hearing on resolution number 75-2022. This is adopting the 2022 Wicomico County, Maryland Land Preservation, Parks, and Recreation Plan. And we have Mr. Steve Miller here, Director of Recreation, Parks, and Tourism, if there are any questions.
This time, we open the floor for a public hearing on resolution number 75-2022. If you have any comments that you'd like to make, come to the podium, state your name, your county of residence, and your concerns. Seeing none, that concludes the public hearing on resolution number 75-2022. Entertain a motion from council to approve resolution number 75-2022.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Miller, did you have any comments that you wanted to make? Okay. Any questions? All those in favor of Resolution 75-2022, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, resolution passes. Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Okay, next is a public hearing on a proposed amendment to the fiscal year 2023-2027 capital improvement program and fiscal year 2023 capital budget to add a new project titled Cove Road Land Acquisition. This is for the purchase of 20628, 20632, and 20636 Cove Road, located in Byval, Maryland, for the total purchase price of $185,000 to be funded through two grants. One, FEMA in the amount of $188,819 for land acquisition and site cleanup. And then the other grant is a program open space grant in the amount of $67,750 for land acquisition. You'll notice that there are several resolutions for council's consideration farther down on the agenda that pertain to this request, but this is just the public hearing at this time.
This time we open the floor for a public hearing on the proposed amendment. As Mrs. Hurley stated, if you have any comments that you'd like to make, come to the podium, please state your name, your county of residence, and your concern.
My name's James Wade, and I'm from Wicomico County. I would just like to, we have been involved a little bit with Steve Miller with the this acquisition process on purchasing the land. I'm familiar with the land. I've lived across from the road that leads down to Cove Road for over 20 years. My understanding of what's going to happen would be some more public open space and additional parking. The only concerns that I have heard of at this point were somehow to keep the people from being able to go down over the banks to mess up the grass dunes. That was the only negative that I've heard. Everybody else that I've talked with seemed to be very for this whole project. Because the houses and things are going to wash out in the road, in the river. I mean, it's pretty bad down there. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Any other comments in reference to the Cove Road land acquisition?
Hi, I'm Judith Stribling, a resident of Byval and chair of the Wicomico County Natural Resources Conservation Advisory Committee. I have heard, just as a resident of Byval, a number of concerns regarding this proposal, mainly with respect to management of the park and excessive traffic and things of that sort. I've articulated a lot of this to Mr. Miller. I think the Parks Department is, interested in trying to improve the situation, but at this point, a number of my neighbors feel as though this park has been a really great burden to the citizens because of the incredibly large amount of traffic, the large numbers of people that come down there and that use the park and very frequently in the summer exceed the parking limits. Adding parking to this system will help to some degree, but it still will encourage a lot of traffic and a lot of influx of people into that area that is often dangerous. We have had 2 serious accidents 5 days apart, Memorial Day and 5 days later, right in front of the West Side Fire Department. People ripping their way down 65 miles an hour is what was claimed to get to Cove Beach. And there was a fight Memorial Day down there. There was another incident with the park ranger at Cove Beach. So I really think it's necessary that the county address some of the problems that exist now before expanding that plan. Now, changing hats, chair of the NRCAC, I've talked with Steve Miller about having our committee review plans for the acquired lands. I myself see this as one of the most environmentally sensitive parks in the county. There is a small creek and a fairly large marsh area that are extremely important to the ecological integrity of that area next to the park, and how that work is done is going to be very important. There's a very questionable bridge leading to the last house over that needs to be removed. That bridge is highly unlikely to sustain any amount of traffic across it in the way of large equipment. I think that the need to replace that bridge would be great. I agree that these houses need to be removed, but their removal is going to take a lot of careful planning and to avoid further damaging that system. The other complaint that I've heard a lot is people crossing over that dune area, as Jim Wade mentioned, and making their own paths, tearing down the fences. Management of this beach is important. Wicomico County has over 100,000 residents. Tiny Cove Beach seems to be the priority beach for the whole county. It's not big enough for that, even with this additional land, which will be helpful if it's managed properly. But these are just some of the concerns that I have heard, and a couple people have asked me to express them who can't be here tonight. And I really appreciate your help, because Bivalve is being overwhelmed by the visitors to this beach right now. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm David James. I'm a resident of Wicomico County, and that young lady really summed it up. I mean, I do represent a lot of the people down there, including Wicomico. Also, a young lady that's very important down there, Nancy from Whitehaven. And the young ladies that I've spoke to today, those have come to some of the things that they were talking about. Security. We don't really have a lot of, as Sheriff Lewis told us at that town hall, we don't have a lot of our sheriffs out there because there's not a lot of crime. Well, of course, if we turn that to Little Ocean City, which is that's what's going to happen if we do that, we got to be careful with that, seriously. One of them, we do want to see things happen down there. However, Wicomico Park, Mr. Miller spoke with some of those young ladies today, and they talked very highly of you. We want to make sure that getting $185,000 to expand Cove is not going to put Wicomico on the back burner. A lot of people down there are concerned that a lot of their issues that they've been asking about gets put on the back burner for these big projects that allow people from not in that area to come down there and to populate that area. Again, nobody down there is against people coming down there. However, we want to make sure that when people come down there, it's done safely and they're not overwhelmed. They don't like a lot of development. As I heard in a lot of those proposals, they don't want people bringing in large developments. Well, guess what? Sometimes developments of people are worse than bringing developments of households. So I just want you to keep that in mind. We appreciate y'all. Have a great one.
Thank you, Mr. James.
It's kind of fun of a senior and well-respected member of the local business community. I hope my air conditioning holds up. My name is John S. Lafferty. I'm here with my wife, Margaret. For the last 10 years, almost 10 years, we've owned a property on the corner of Nanticoke Road and Cove Road. We live catty-corner from Jim Wade. The benefit that we have that Jim doesn't is that you can't go to the Cove Road without going by our house. And I recognize Judith's concern. I had heard that concern from another member of the community too. First of all, the recognition of the environmental importance of maintaining the integrity of the marsh. The bridge is, I don't think the county plans, as I understand it, calls for the maintenance and building of that bridge, maintenance of the existing bridge, which it probably should be a footbridge, if anything, and the integrity of the dunes by, some people suggested erecting a fence that would prevent people from walking through over the dunes and through the grasses. But and as far as the accident, we're fortunate we have the former longtime chief of the Westside Volunteer Fire Department who can speak to those accidents if he wants to. I can only speak as a resident of Cove Road. Have another resident of Cove Road is here as well. I think frankly, the county would be foolish not to purchase the marsh, would be foolish not to purchase those houses, it would be foolish not to expand the beach. That beach is enjoyed by countless residents of Montgomery County, and
You meant Wicomico.
what did I say?
You said Montgomery.
Montgomery. Yeah, Wicomico. Well, I've seen people in Montgomery County everywhere, but anyway,
Just for the record, we know you meant that.
thank you for that beach is enjoyed by countless members of the community and members of Wicomico County. And it's the problems they're small, manageable, and I think that the county would be foolish not to increase the size of that beach and like a poignant story is from my house. I can sometimes hear the waves from the beach, and you have to stop and think, can you hear? Is that waves or is that wind going through pine trees? I also can hear from my house the sound of children laughing, and I'll take more of that. So I think it's a resource to the county and the broader area, and I would support the acquisition, strongly support the acquisition of that property and the demolition of those houses. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I'm Frank T Batt, also citizen of Wicomico County and the Lower West Side. I think it's unfortunate that there are no pictures taken and presented, because not only is this property increased, we're at more than doubling, I would say, the size of the beach. That beach is way overcrowded, but now you'll have twice as much beach or more, it appears to me. And I've not measured it by hand, but I have measured it by sight of the eye. And, you know, when you realize how much beach is there that we're not letting people go on right now, and our beaches are overcrowded, we need to provide for this. This is really important to provide places to go. Like years ago, the county saw fit to buy Roaring Point. It was available. It's available once in a lifetime. This beach, this property is available once in a lifetime. There will be no other opportunity. We can't let it go by and say, don't buy it. Now, how we manage it, that has to come. But we're dumb not to buy this property when it's available and somehow or other maintain it for the use of the county. And, you know, it's maintained for that use. There's a big use, whether it's by our county residents or whatever. 40 years ago, people in town didn't know about that beach. Now, everybody knows about it, and it's well used. One of the two most popular beaches in this county. So, just say my piece. Thank you.
How are y'all, President, Council? Thank y'all. I've lived in Blytheville, Wicomico County, all my life. And the Cove, my mom, when I was little, used to take me down there to the beach. Lovely place. The expansion is needed for the property. It gets crowded down there, but it's a great place. As far as people being disorderly at times and things, well, that's what we have our sheriff's department for. And we don't need to punish the good people for what the bad people do. That's what we have law for. And there's a lot of good people use that park. It's been there all my life, and they love it. If we got the opportunity to buy the piece on the other side where there's a residence now, we should buy that also. And you would have no headaches. Steve, the recreation parks are there every day picking up the trash. Them guys, I see them, they go by my house, Cedar Hill, down to the pier, down to the cove, down to the point. They do a good job maintaining it. We don't have no traffic issues as far as with the fire company going down there. It will be a loss not to purchase that. That's a good piece of property, and it'd be nice. Like I say, if you ever get a chance to buy the other side, buy that too. And then you would have a lot less headaches. Thank you.
Could you state your name for the public record?
Sorry.
Just for the record.
Joe Dickerson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, all. My name is Bob Gordon, been a resident of Wicomico County for 41 years. I live in the suburbs of Bivalve, means on the west side of it, right across from Cove Road. My wife goes down to the Cove every morning she can while it's low tide with our dogs. She picks up bags and bags of trash every day. People are just slobs, just how it is. I am totally for the purchase of this property. The price that has come out is $188,000, and it looks like we have close to $250,000 in grants from both FEMA and POS. And so I would think with that other $75,000, that would probably go towards the destruction of the two houses, which probably should go due to an impact in the environment, or the house is falling apart and going to the river. But I would like to have the county, if they do purchase it, put a moratorium on there for 3 to 5 years. Let's let it sit there like Pirates Wharf Cove to see what we're going to do with it. You don't have to go down. You can buy it now. It is available. It's a prime piece of property. But let's not jump into putting an extra 30, 40, 50 parking spots there. Let's utilize the parking that is there. And if people come down from this county, other counties, and they see the parking area full, hey, turn around, go to another park. We have 6 parks on the west side. Go to another park. If you go to the ball game, you go to wherever else, you go to Ocean City, you look for a parking place right on the ocean. Hell, you're not going to find it. I'm sorry for that word, but you're not going to find it. You're going to be walking away. You go somewhere else. But do not put any extra parking there at the time being. I would request that the county, the Parks and Rec, Mr. Miller, they take a very close look at the dunes. From us being there 40 years, there used to be dunes. Now it's a dune. And the fencing, there is no fencing. The people just park and they'll walk right across the dunes. There are trails across the dunes, and that's what's tearing down the grasses. If you put a split rail fence up, that's not going to help. Kids are going to crawl under it. People are going to take the railing down. Let's get with maybe the Maryland Department of Environment, the DNR. You can go any other, the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, anything that the state has to offer us, and looking at some type of a permanent fence along that dune, because once that one dune is gone, it's into the marsh, and we're up the creek without a paddle. No pun intended. And as far as that little bridge you're talking about, it's a small bridge. That doesn't have to be fixed now. So let's put a moratorium of 3 to 5 years. Get a council together, get a group together that will work with the Parks and Rec, work with the roads. But we don't need any more parking down there. So when it's full, it's full. If you expand the beach, which it's doing, it would be doing by, probably a third or more. That means that people could spread out a little bit more. You're not elbow to ankles. He's like, going to say something else, didn't you? But anyway, it's a prime piece of land. I said the price is excellent. While it's going, let's go ahead and get it. Say if we have an extra $75,000 in the budget, it looks like that anyway. And utilize that to maintain what we have. Maintain what we have. Because if we don't maintain that right now, that's going to be gone. Put some more trash bins in. If they're there and empty, people will put it in. I said, my wife goes on every morning. She comes back with things that you don't even want to know that she comes back home with. From clothing to toys to you name it. Just people's thoughts. But buy the property, put a moratorium on it, no more parking. When it's full, it's full. People can turn around. I got the 6 other facilities on our side of the county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the public hearing on the Cove Road acquisition. We will be going to the specific resolutions in 1 minute, but we do have another resolution to take care of a housekeeping matter first.
We do. This is reconsideration of resolution number 69-2022. This is to remove the 4-year term limit. Charter section 413 indicates that within 6 months after each election for county executive, the county executive shall appoint all department heads subject to council confirmation. In this situation, the election is just a few months away, so the term limit is not needed in the resolution. Also, you'll see in the first whereas paragraph, it references appointments to boards and commissions. It is recommended that that be changed to reference the appointment of a department head instead of boards and commissions. To make these changes, you'll need a motion to reconsider resolution number 69-2022, and then you'll need to amend the resolution. And I do have a copy of the proposed amendments on the council table for you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hurley. I entertain a motion from council to reconsider resolution number 69-2022.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Mrs. Hurley has been kind enough to make this really easy for us. The motion we would need from the table would be to read the 2 sections that are highlighted in yellow as far as what's been added and what we have taken out of this particular resolution. So we would need an amendment, motion to amend.
Want to make a stab at it?
Yeah. Thank you.
We would need to add in the, I guess it'd be considered the second paragraph or the first whereas. We would need to add the heads of each department of the executive branch as defined by sections 502 and 503 of the Wicomico County Charter, and strike where it says nominees to the end of that paragraph. And we also need to strike in the last paragraph where it says a 4-year term from the adoption of this resolution.
Motion to amend. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. Amendment has been passed. Thank you, Councilman McCain. Any other discussion on resolution number 69, 2022? Seeing none, all those in favor of resolution 69, 2022 as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Resolution passes as amended.
Okay, next for your consideration is resolution number 76-2022. This is to authorize the acting county executive to acquire 20636 Cove Road, Byville, Maryland, being shown on tax map 53, grid 21, parcel 73, for the purpose of removing the potential for future damages from future flooding events by demolishing the existing structures located on the property and creating an open space to be used as an expansion of the Cove Road Park. And we do have Mr. Steve Miller here, Director of Recreation, Parks and Tourism, and Marilyn Williams, Land Development Coordinator.
Entertain a motion from council to approve resolution 76-2022.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Why don't you come up? I saw you taking a million notes during the public hearing. You can state for the public your name, your positions. We appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Steve Miller, I'm the Director of Recreation, Parks and Tourism.
Marilyn Williams, Land Development Coordinator with Department of Planning and Zoning.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I think it goes a long way when the public comes in and, makes our job a lot easier when they're in favor of what you're proposing. It means, to me, that means you've done your homework You communicated to all those involved really well, so that's a good thing. So anything you'd like to add as far as any assurances?
I'll just kind of introduce how we got to this point. I met Mr. Russell Matthews back in 2007 when I was part of the surveying team that surveyed his property. When there was a third house on the property, that was the 28 number, and it was damaged during a bad storm. Then after I started working with the county, Mr. Matthews came to me and wanted to talk about getting a FEMA grant because his house, he lived in the White House, his house would flood and it was becoming more frequently flooded with all of the higher than normal tides. And so we started talking about that. He came up with some plans, but unfortunately he became ill. And he passed away in November of 2018 before we could ever apply for any FEMA grants for him. And so then I knew the property, and FEMA really wants us, any municipality that participates in the National Flood Insurance Program, to go after properties like this. This is a frequent flooding property, frequently has insurance claims against it. And so FEMA is looking for us as municipalities to really go after properties like this. So it really started out as doing something to remove these structures from the insurance program, stop all of the repetitive damage to the properties. It never really started out as an acquisition to the Cove Road property. It just so happens that this property lies next to the Cove Road property. So it really started out as, hey, we have an environmental situation here. We have houses that continue to flood. And so we wanted to do something that FEMA wants us to do, and that's acquire properties, remove the structures, and return it to an open space. And that's what we would have to do with the FEMA grant, is to return it to open space. So we have plans to remove the houses, remove all the structures, the utilities, everything comes away, and then it's just open space.
Before the gentleman passed away, was there a chance that he was going to get a FEMA grant?
You know, it's a repetitive property, so he would have been given a higher look at it, but then with the critical areas, health department issues, it was an existing home, so it would have been, looked at anyway.
Well, my next question would have been, what could you have done for the property, and is that what you're going to do now?
We have to remove all structures with the FEMA grant. That's the acquisition grants that FEMA gives. They want us to go after these properties, get rid of all structures, remove anything that could ever have an insurance claim, and then return it to, and then use it as an open space use.
So there'd be no building the property up?
No, it can never be built upon again.
I don't mean build a house, I mean to prevent it from eroding.
Yes. So one good thing is that Mr. Matthews did use, after Superstorm Sandy, he did use some of his insurance money. There is a very nice bulkhead along the water side, along the river side of the property. However, the flooding really occurs with that gut that goes through and from the marshlands.
Can I add one comment, Mr.
Yes,
Cannon?
sir.
Mr. Cannon, to your point, I appreciate the neighbors coming out tonight and the conversations that we've had leading up to tonight, and I appreciate their input, and I'll just say, for the record, that should this go forward and we do acquire the property, we'll continue to work with neighbors, folks like the NRCAC, to get feedback. We're obviously going to work with critical areas and all the agencies that we would need to when we look at how we would maintain, and if you look at parking and things of that nature. So we've had preliminary steps in that direction, but we didn't want to get too far, not knowing if we'd acquire it or not. But
And Steve,
thank you.
Seen some concerns tonight about the dune and the dune crossings. And is there any chance that could be a boardwalk constructed across the dune and fencing put up to try to rebuild the dunes?
Yeah, I think there could be. In fact, on the piece of property that we currently own, we're actually doing that shoreline restoration that'll start later this summer, where we're going to restore those, restore some of the beach and try to protect it. So we could certainly look at that. And I think the other part, and this is where we would work with Brock and the other stakeholders, is trying to give the public an appropriate path to get from A to B, to get from the parking lot to the beach. And a lot of times they create their own path when there is none, and that's what we would try to avoid, is to direct it and then to protect it. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, well, I noticed, down at the ocean side, you'll see a lot of times they'll build them salt treated or whatever they use now, basically almost flush with the sand, and that helps keep people taking alternate paths.
Right. Right.
And then you could use like snow fencing or something on each side to direct them in that.
Thank you, Steve, for reaching out to the citizens of the west side. I really appreciate it. I know they're very active, and it's good that they have a voice in what's happening down there. So I appreciate you working with them, and I know you'll continue to work with them as the project moves forward.
Thank you.
Questions? All those in favor of Resolution 76-2022, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's
Just to
carried.
note,
Resolution passes.
I recuse myself from that vote.
Okay, so it's 6-0 with one recusal, one abstention.
Okay, the next item for business is Resolution Number 77-2022. This is to authorize the acting county executive to acquire 20632 Cove Road in Byvale, Maryland, being shown on tax map 63, grid 4, parcel 31, and 20628 Cove Road in Byvale, Maryland, being shown on tax map 63, grid 4, parcel 32. And this is for the purpose of removing the potential for future damages from future flooding events by demolishing the existing structures located on the property and creating an open space to be used as an expansion of the Cove Road Park.
Get a motion from council to approve Resolution 77-2022. Second.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. Miller, how many park or beach access parks do we have on the west side?
That's a good question. There's 6 parks out there, beach access, I think 4, I think. Don't quote me on that, I have to double check it.
There seems to be,
You've got Roaring Point, Cove Road, Tyaskin, Watipkin kind of, it's not really beach. There's a boat
Water
ramp there,
access.
but yeah. Cedar Hill, yeah,
okay.
yep.
It seems to really be picking up out there.
These people know better than I do.
As long as you're planning for your budget to
Yeah,
make sure you maintain all those, because it seems like this has become a more popular spot.
it is.
You actually have Steel Drive down in Whitehaven.
And I have a question. Years ago, the county used to have lifeguards at all the beach places in the parks that we had. Is that going to be a consideration in the future for the beaches down there? Because if there's a lot of people down there, it kind of does concern me, 'cause I hate to hear of a drowning.
Yeah, it's not something we've actively considered at this point, but it's not to say that that would be out of the question. One of the things we started last summer because of the overcrowding of the beaches and the parking issues is we've actually started staffing, not with a lifeguard, but with the personnel on Saturdays and Sundays, which can redirect people if they come and it's a full lot, they can redirect, because in the past, with no staff person there, they would start illegally parking on the road, blocking private or driveways and things of that nature. So we've increased the staffing there. The lifeguarding would be another question. We've not done that to this point, but we can explore anything.
Any other questions?
I was one of those lifeguards
Were you?
40 years ago.
Good, thank you.
Just a note.
Mr. McKean, will you be abstaining from this as well? Will you be abstaining from all the rest of these?
I'll be recusing myself from
Recusing
this
yourself?
vote. Yes.
Okay, all right. All those in favor of Resolution 77-2022, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Resolution passes 6-0 with one abstention.
Next is Resolution Number 78-2022. This is to amend the fiscal year 2023 capital budget and fiscal year 2023-2027 capital improvement plan, and to authorize the acting county executive to accept a federal emergency management agency, known as FEMA, pre-disaster mitigation grant award in the amount of $188,000 $819.10 to acquire 3 parcels of land known as 20628, 20632, and 20636 Cove Road in Byval, Maryland, and to demolish all structures located on those parcels of land.
Entertain a motion from council to approve Resolution 78-2022.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, 6-0 with 1 abstention.
Okay, next is resolution number 79-2022. This is to amend the fiscal year 2023 capital budget and fiscal year 2023-2027 capital improvement plan, and to authorize the acting county executive to accept a program open space acquisition grant award in the amount of $67,750 to acquire 3 parcels of land, again known as 20628, 20632, and 20636 Cove Road, Byval, Maryland.
A motion to approve Resolution 79-2022.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution passes unanimously, 6-0 with 1 abstention.
Okay, next is resolution number.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Next is resolution number 80-2022. This is to approve a technical change for the voter address of 28489 Old Quantico Road from Kansas-Manic District 2 to Kansas-Manic District 1. And we have Deon Church here, the Executive Director of the Wicomico County Board of Elections, if there are any questions.
And a motion from council to approve Resolution 80-2022.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any questions from council? Seeing none, all those in favor of resolution number 80, 2022, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, resolution passes.
Okay, next is a submission of an appointment to the Natural Resources Conservation Advisory Committee. In accordance with Charter Section 315B, the acting county executive has submitted an appointment for council's confirmation to the Natural Resources Conservation Advisory Committee. This committee was established in 2009 for the purpose of developing a comprehensive GI plan with strategies to implement green infrastructure conservation in Wicomico County. Resolution number 81-2022 is confirming the appointment of Alma C. Hackett to serve as a member of the Natural Resources Conservation Advisory Committee.
Entertain a motion from council to approve Resolution 81-2022.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Resolution 81-2022 passes unanimously.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mrs. Hurley. Good evening, Mr. Mitchell.
Good evening. This is introduction of Legislative Bill 2022-09. It's an emergency act to amend the Wicomico County Personnel Manual, Chapter 10, dealing with employee benefits, Section 1013, death benefit, to allow family members of an employee killed in the line of duty to obtain health insurance coverage. In essence, they would retain the insurance coverage in the same manner as would be a retired employee, and the language is would be in the course of and arising out of employment, so that it's not just someone who happens to die while 9 to 5. It has to do with what they're doing.
And this is for all employees?
For all employees, that would, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Entertain a motion from council to introduce legislative bill number 2022-09.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion second. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Everybody knows who you are, but if you could state that just for the record, we'd appreciate it.
John Pasota, Acting County Executive for Wicomico County.
Jackie Curry, Human Resources Director for Wicomico County.
Paul Wilbur, County Attorney.
I'd like to start. John?
To Mr. Mitchell's point, as he read that, I thank you very much for putting this on the agenda in an emergency legislation, and I will certify that it is necessary for the immediate preservation of public health, safety, and welfare, which requires immediate action in the public interest and subject to the laws of Maryland. So again, I thank you very much. For particular information, if you have questions, I'll ask Jackie to help you out there.
Thank you.
So we are looking to add a section to the personnel manual for any employee that is killed in the line of duty. Under our current policy, if we have two sections already, a deceased employee eligible for retirement and then a deceased employee not eligible for retirement. And under that section, the family that has the insurance would have to continue that in the method of COBRA, which is a continuation of insurance. However, it's at an extremely high premium rate. What we're proposing is for, if an employee is killed in the line of duty, that their family that is currently on their plan would be able to continue that in the capacity of a retired employee's family, which is a much cheaper monthly premium.
Okay. Any questions from council?
I do have one question. Actually, I brought this up to Mr. Mitchell. I mean, from a definition standpoint, we use the term killed in the line of duty. And I guess the example, and a couple council people actually sort of gave this example, but, if someone has a heart attack while they're at work, is that killed in the line of duty? I mean, is it a death, while you're working, or is it, is there a difference in natural causes versus, I guess, an action that caused the event?
Yes, I did reach out to the workers' compensation representative that we have, and the language in the proposed policy is arising out of and in the course of employment, which our representative states essentially what that language means is that it's not sufficient for an injury or condition such as a heart attack to just have incurred at work. The burden also must be meant to show that there was a causative danger peculiar to the employment to be deemed compensable. So that is the definition through the workers' compensation representative that we're using in the language here.
And as I pointed out, certain things like fire department, in some instances the police, they are assumed to have a cause, things like heart attack, lung, things like that. So they don't have that proof issue. If you were something else, some other type employee working in personnel or something, you had a heart attack or a breathing issue that led to your death, you would have a proof issue. But if you could prove it, you would still be entitled.
Josh?
So as grim as an example as this is, I know we have lots of shootings and mass shootings everywhere, but God forbid like that happened tonight and, they wiped out the county council here. We would all be eligible. Our spouses or family would be eligible. We'd
Yes, as long as they're currently on your plan.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go.
Some of that seemed partially out of order.
I was looking at the door.
Dark, Josh.
Terrible.
Any other questions?
Oh, and just the other question, I guess, as far as are there any other death benefits that I know we discussed it briefly, and a lot of this comes out of the Hilliard unfortunate situation there, but what other death benefits do we have, or does the county have, and does that change? I'm thinking from a budget standpoint, if there are any other changes that could come out of that.
For the FOP, of course, we have in the agreement that they have a separate death benefit. For the rest of the employees, it's a one-year annual salary, and it's actually included in Section 1013 of the policy, and it's in the language for the proposal as well.
Thank you.
Good question. Seeing none, all those in favor of the introduction of the legislative bill 2022-09, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Legislative bill 2022-09 passes unanimously. The introduction passes unanimously.
Mr. President,
Thank you.
council can hold a special meeting on July the 26th at 10 a.m. For the public hearing on this bill. It's my understanding that it is time sensitive, given the situation of a current family that we have. I know that all council members have indicated that they cannot attend, but we do have a majority that said they would be available.
Thank you, Ms. Hurley. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.